Good morning. I'm excited for this one today. Got another new shoe in for testing. I have the first ever shoe I've had by Brooks. These are the Brooks Hyperion Max. Andy Rayner, the Forest of Dean runner, picked these as his shoe of the year for this year. I'm 6'4", he's 6'6", so these are tall guy approved. So I'm curious to see how these work for me. I know they worked really well for him. Upon first stepping in, the thing that I'm most impressed with this shoe is how light they are. I believe it's like 8.6 ounces, something like that in my size. I'll get the exact measurement, but that's in the territory of my race shoes, like the Vaporfly, the Hoka Rocket X are all in that kind of area weight wise. So very lightweight for a tempo shoe slash daily shoe. So that's a good place to start. The upper is also very tight fitting. As I mentioned before, I have kind of a normal volume to a slightly narrower foot, so the upper fits me really nice. It has a race-like fit to it. These are true to size for me. I was able to get a size 12 and I still have some room in the front there. I didn't have to step up to a 12.5. These shoes have Brooks DNA Flash midsole, which is a nitrogen infused foam to give you some bounciness. There's also a pretty aggressive rocker in these shoes. I can feel that toe off as I'm walking here. This has kind of a decent curve to the front of the shoe, which I think is really gonna help with running fast. Also the fact that these are so light and the foam is a little bit firmer, which I really kind of prefer in a speed shoe to not sink into it too much. So I'm gonna do a interval workout today. I'll do a warm-up at slower speeds and then put in some sprints and see how these perform for me. So warm-up is done in the Brooks Hyperion Max, and a couple thoughts off the bat. I really like the fit of this upper. It's a really nice tight fitting upper, fits my foot really well. The shoe has a very nice roll. It feels pretty stable as well. The midsole is definitely on the firmer side though. These are also a brand new shoe. It may take a couple runs to loosen up this foam a little bit. Also, it's like 30 degrees out today, so it's pretty cold. So these may not be at their absolute springiest right now, but also I can feel that aggressive rocker geometry here really wants me to run faster. So I feel like I was almost putting the brakes on these shoes by not opening up my stride during that warm-up. So these really feel like they want to run more of those tempo paces. I feel like I have a performance car here that I've been driving around town in low gear, and it's just like wants me to open it up. So that's what I'm about to do. I'm about to run some intervals here. Initial feelings too, these are reminding me a lot of the Puma Deviate Elite version 1, where that was a stiff shoe, a fast shoe, a very light shoe. These are even the same kind of color scheme as that, but they have that similar feeling where they feel light and fast and like you want to run with a higher cadence in them. So we'll see what kind of paces I get up to on these intervals here. I'm in the middle of my intervals now, but I thought I'd give an update. Yeah, that is where this shoe wants to live. A little bit speedier. It really encourages you to pick up your cadence. That rocker feels a whole lot better. The foam also becomes more responsive. It's reminding me of Adidas Light Strike Pro, where it kind of gives you that little bit of squish but bounces back quickly. So I'm not sinking into the foam too much. It's not too soft for me, but it is giving that nice responsive bounce once I get to the toe off. So these are feeling really smooth and excellent at these tempo paces. So the Brooks Hyperion Max, this made a really good first impression on me. This is the first Brooks shoe that I've ever worn, because I kind of look at Brooks as like the shoe that your dad wears to the farmer's market. on a Sunday. Not the most stylish, usually not the most flashy. I haven't been that impressed with their racing offerings, but this shoe is really standing out as being a really viable choice. I really like the fit of this upper. It has a nice narrow kind of upper to it, comfortable. Your foot slides right in there, has that heel flare, so it's comfortable for your Achilles. One downside to the upper, it is a non-gusseted tongue, so this tongue does kind of flop around in there. On my run today, it initially started like this, and it kind of slid to the side a little bit during the run, so it ended up the end kind of like that. So I had a little bit of slide in the tongue. There is padding in the tongue though, and I didn't feel it at all. It didn't affect me negatively when running, but you know, we can put a little couple gussets in there and make that a little better. The outsole rubber on here is actually a pretty thick application, and it's got a lot of ridges on it. It's pretty grippy as well. So I could see this being good in wet weather, and I think it's going to be very durable. Even though there is some exposed midsole foam, this rubber that's placed on there is very thick, and I think that that's going to do a very good job of lasting a long time. Also, with this midsole foam being a little bit more on the firmer side, that type of foam tends to last a little bit longer. It might break in a little bit the next few times I use it, so it'll become a little bit more springy, but then it doesn't lose that springiness where a lot of soft foams kind of lose it faster as you compress the foam. As I mentioned though, actually, if you look at the shelf behind me here, I brought out kind of some heavy hitters to compare to this thing, because the most impressive thing is really the weight. 8.66 ounces in a men's size 12 is a very light shoe. That's in the company of all these shoes behind me, you know, carbon plate racing shoes over $200. So let's see how it compares in weight to some of these options. Now, a couple of these are marathon racing shoes. These are the maximum legal stack, 39 millimeters in the heel, so they do have a little bit more midsole foam. Saucony Endorphin Elite is weighing in at 8.98 ounces in a men's 12.5. The Adidas Adios Pro 3 is 9.21 in a size 12. The Hoka Rocket X2 in a size 12. This one's weighing in at 9.03, so just over 9 ounces. And comparing it to a more of a daily shoe, this is the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3. This is in a 12.5. This one's weighing 9.47. So far this shoe has been lighter than every single one of those ones I've put up. Get down to the lightest shoes that I have. This is the Nike Vaporfly Next Percent 2. This one is in a 12.5. This is weighing 8.57. So we beat it for the first time with the Vaporfly. The Takumi Sen 8. This one is similar in that I use it as a tempo shoe. It's a little bit lower stack. This one doesn't have a carbon plate. It has the rods in there. But this is a very minimal shoe. It's got a big cutout in the side there. This one's weighing in at 8.24. So that's also lighter than the Hyperion Elite or Hyperion Max. And then the latest shoe I have right here, these are the Puma Deviate Elite V1s. These in a size 12 are 8.08 ounces, so almost under 8 ounces in a size 12. This is the lightest running shoe that I have. You can see how airy that upper is. You can see right through it. It's very minimal all the way around. This one also has a non-gusseted tongue similar to the Hyperion Max. So why so much focus on weight? Well, it's easier to move light things than it is to move heavy things. So if you can manage to have a shoe that's very responsive as well as being lightweight, that's really the best of both worlds. So this shoe did a great job today when I turned it up to those tempo paces. I was able to get up to 5:05 pace as my fastest pace, 11.8 miles an hour. And on the intervals, I did for 1 minute, 5:52 pace, 6:45, 6:49, 6:57, 6:58. 7 minutes, 5:49, 6:16, 5:44, and then I did my fastest interval in the last one, 5:29. Some of those I was running uphill, so that's the ones that are 7 or close to 7. I was going uphill, but again, I was able to get some really nice paces out of this shoe and increase my cadence quite a bit. So where does this shoe fit into my running rotation? Good question, because actually in a lot of places, this is a very versatile shoe. It's great at tempo work, so I could definitely see using this for faster runs and speedier sessions, but it has the cushioning and the stack to also handle long runs. So I'm thinking marathon paced long runs might actually be a place where this would shine particularly well. I do still find that at slower paces, easy paces, this shoe being so light really wants you to run fast. So that's probably the only time I wouldn't think of using this in a rotation, is if I was doing a recovery run or an easy run, because it's just too light and too fast and too fun to use for that type of run. Buy it weight or second rate, that's something where this shoe actually worked out really well for me. This shoe normally is $169.99, $170, which I think you're actually getting a lot of shoe for your money there. This holds up, stands up against those other speed shoes, things around that price point. But I've been interested in this one for a while, but I have so many shoes I didn't really need to get it. But then I did see that it went on sale at Dick's Sporting Goods. This shoe was on sale for $64, which is $100 off. And I actually went to the outlet store near me, and they had it in my size. And I also had two $10 certificates that I could use that they sent to me. Like, Merry Christmas, here's $10. So I actually got another $20 off. So I got the shoe for $44, which may be the best shoe for the money that I've ever done. I've gotten some good deals in my day, but $170 shoe for $44, that's an absolute winner. And I could see this shoe lasting a really long time. I think it's going to be very durable. I'm going to use this a lot in preparing for my next marathon. And I don't think I mentioned it on this channel yet. I did get into the Chicago Marathon for next year. So next October, I'll be running the Chicago Marathon. So I'm hoping for the first time to have decent weather and to be able to put down a good performance in a marathon. But this shoe is going to help me put in the miles to get me there. So that's it for the first impressions. I'll probably do an update on these once I use them for at least 50 miles and let you know how that foam is going and if they've kind of loosened up at all or how they're treating me at that time. So that's all I have for today. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.